Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. First, I'd like to ask Vice President McVeigh if you would go ahead and read the Open Public Meeting Act statement.
Thank you, President. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of April 2nd, 2019 was included in a list of meeting notices sent to the newspapers of record and posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Excellent, thank you. Is Javen Branch in attendance? We have a very special guest tonight. I'd like to invite Javen up here to go ahead and lead us with the flag salute. We'll go ahead and lead the invitation. All good, sir. You ready? Tell you what, come up here and stand. Okay, you ready to lead us? Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, folks, now will be the invocation, then we do have a proclamation, so...
Yes, please stand. We seek blessings on this on the task before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. Amen.
Okay, roll call vote, Vicki.
Council President Fulmer,
Here.
Council Vice President McVeigh,
Here.
Councilman Davis, Councilwoman DeGirolamo,
Here.
Councilman Lutz.
Excellent. Council, I would like to go ahead and do the proclamation before the approval of minute, if that's okay. Does anyone have any objections? Okay, you want to join me up front? Okay. You all see, the majority of us are decked out in blue for Autism Awareness Month. So we have this proclamation to read to our community. April is Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a complex developmental disability, signs typically appear during early childhood and affect a person's ability to communicate and interact with others. Whereas there is no known single cause of autism, but increased awareness and early diagnosis, intervention, and access to appropriate services, supports lead to significantly improved outcomes. Whereas in 2018, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued their ADDM Autism Prevalence Report. The report concluded that the prevalence of autism had risen to 1 in every 59 births in the United States, twice as great as the 2004 rate of 1 in 125, and almost 1 in 54 for boys. Whereas the spotlight shining on autism as a result has opened opportunities for the nation and the town of Phillipsburg to consider how to serve families facing a lifetime of supports for the individual with autism. Whereas early identification of an ASD is crucial, as it means early intervention services can begin making a huge impact in child's behavior, functioning, and future well-being. Without early intervention, the symptoms of autism can worsen, resulting in more costly treatment over the course of a lifetime. The estimated lifetime cost of caring for someone with autism ranges from $1.4 to $2.4 million. But this cost can be reduced by 2/3 through the early stages of diagnosis and intervention. Let it be known on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019, that this governing body in the town of Phillipsburg recognizes autism as treatable, and individuals with autism do not outgrow autism, making the need for education and awareness of autism spectrum disorder a priority for our community. JB, thank you very much for leading this evening. Would you like to take the proclamation with you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What a polite young man, huh? All right, so moving forward, we can now go to the approval of minutes for January 22nd, 2019. These are the executive session minutes. Is there a move to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? There being none, we can roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGarmo?
Yes.
Council Vice President McBain?
Yes.
Council President Fulper?
Yes, at this point in time, I would move to ask council for a resolution to approve the public release of the January 22nd, 2019 executive session meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Well, is that going to be subject to my review for redaction?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you don't want to review it, redact anything.
I don't know, I'll have to look at
I understand. I'm messing with you. Roll call.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGarmo?
Yes.
Council Vice President McBain?
Yes.
Council President Fulper?
Yes. Okay, now we have a discussion. Michelle Crossan, are you in attendance? I know you are, I saw you here. Come on up. I believe you have with you Ms.
Martha.
Martha,
Kahn.
is it Cahan? Kahn? Ms. Martha Kahn, President of No Nonsense Neutering. That sounds like trouble to me. The floor is yours.
Hi, so most of you know me. I'm Michelle. I've been our animal control officer for about 2.5 years now. Part of my job is to find ways to improve the quality of life for our residents as well as our animals of this town. And, you know, our cat population is an ever-growing, unmanageable type of situation. Last year I responded to probably about over 200 cat-related calls. A big part of the cat population are cats that are not neutered or not spayed. For instance, last July, I want to say it was, Council President Fulber called me or texted me, I don't remember which one, he says, "Did you know about all of these cats?"
There was about 50.
So I went down to the location. I said, "Yes, I know. I'll come down and meet you." I went down to the location where all of these cats are, and I explained to him what my procedure was going to be to try to fix the problem. This started, my awareness on this cat colony started May 29th of last year, and to date, along with my helper Joyce Pesaresi, she helps me, we have managed to trap 41 cats from this location. A handful, because of Joanne from Fur, have been rehomed, which is very hard to do with cats to, try to rehome them somewhere else. 5 have been released, and the rest were friendly and have been adoptable. So I'm always looking for ways to help out the town, especially when it comes to cost. I spend a lot of money at the vet. Last year, I think we spent over $9,000 on vetting cats. Part of that is the TNR trap-neuter-release, which will help with the population growth of the colony. We'll cut it out altogether. Over time, the population will not expand. The cats will, live in that colony. The colony will kind of die off due to natural attribution. It will also help to abate nuisance calls, as in spraying cats roaming, all kinds of issues. Right now at our vet, we pay an absorbent amount of money. I've already paid over $600 to have 5 cats TNR'd and put back to this location that we spoke of. Through No Nonsense Neutering, we can have this done for $35, which, is the price. A female cat, I spent about $127 to have spayed. Wow. For me to just release it back to where, it goes. So I reached out to No Nonsense Neutering when I found out about their TNR program, which they have established in many other townships. And she's going to kind of tell you a little bit about what they do and
None of you
about
fit in here, by the way.
how they can help our town, and how, this is a very cost-effective thing for us to be able
Yes.
to do.
I have to congratulate you because it's rare I have an animal control officer contact me.
We have a wonderful animal.
Yes, you
control
do.
officer. We're very
No,
proud.
she's terrific. When I got that email, I was like, wow, you're very fortunate because not that many communities have animal control officers. They don't. And most of the animal control officers that I deal with, if you're not, no nonsense neutering, only do dogs. So to have someone who is so in tune with the community and trying to come up with a solution, you're very fortunate.
Thank you.
So, in introduction, I put together just a very small little presentation for you, but I have a packet here from the Humane Society of the United States. I'm leaving you a contract, by the way.
Fantastic.
Yes. This is a great resource for you to use. If you're looking for some data, some information on trap-neuter-return, and you want to see what other communities are doing. By the way, since 2008, the state of New Jersey has looked at trap-neuter-return as being a choice for cat management. So trap-neuter-return New Jersey is not new. It may be new to municipalities to choose from, but it is not new. Just a little bit of an intro for No Nonsense Neutering. We have been in existence since 2008. And during that period of time, we're opening our 5th clinic in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. We started out in the Lehigh Valley and very quickly moved to Reading. And when we moved there, people said, "Why are you moving here? Nothing's going to change." And then we moved in 2014 to Coal Country. We're up in Schuylkill County and down to a suburb of Philadelphia, Hatfield, Montgomery County, and then we're opening our 5th clinic next month in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. So what does No Nonsense Neutering do? We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We fix lots and lots of cats and dogs. We do pets, we do rescues, and we are here to talk about ferals. So, your presentation, if you want to hand these out, you can, so people can follow what I'm doing. This graphic, can everybody hear me if I'm not standing at the mic? This graphic says it all. One female unspayed cat will have 2 to 3 litters a year in Pennsylvania. She average size litter 4. So do the math. Very, very quickly, that skinny female that showed up at the little old lady's house she started feeding will turn into a colony, almost overnight. So this is the cat we're talking about. What's really important, though, when you're talking about cat management in this community, is defining ownership. Pet cats have owners. Your cat should be inside, it should be spayed and neutered for its own health, and up to date on rabies. The cats we're going to be talking about tonight, about 1% of them, although I'm hearing a lot from the community, there's a lot of friendly cats roaming around here, and they would be called strays. And the reason why we call them a stray is they used to be on someone's sofa, and they got thrown out for some reason. Typically what we hear in animal welfare, they get thrown out because you rent, you're not supposed to have an animal, and your landlord just found out. Open up the door, throw the cat out. You find a cute little kitten underneath the shed, and the kids think it's cute, and by the time it reaches 9 months and sexual maturity, it's spraying your house if it's male, it's yowling. If it's a female, open up the door, they get thrown out, and they're not spayed and neutered, or they wouldn't be exhibiting that behavior. The other one we hear a lot is your cat gets sick with the disease diabetes. Kidney disease, you can't afford to pay for the veterinary bills, open up the door and throw the cat out. So that's a stray cat. But the primary cat I'm going to be talking about tonight are wild. They are born to wild mothers. They have never been touched by a human being. They cannot be rehomed. And that's what Michelle was talking about, is we want to get friendly cats inside. But feral wild cats rarely ever adapt to being inside. And so what are we going to do? You are amongst many communities that have the same issues. And everybody's trying to come up with a strategy. And I will tell you that trap-neuter-return has become the strategy for feral cats. We've tried, the next page, we've tried ignore. And a lot of municipalities, before clinics like No Nonsense came along, the ignoring part was passing very stringent, punitive cat ordinances. And so you could just ignore the problem by fining people. We don't do that anymore. We don't. The other was a trap and kill. And that's falling by the wayside for one really big reason, because animal shelters don't want to kill things for you anymore. And so we've had to come up with another strategy. A lot of them have gone private. They don't do animal control at all for cats or dogs. So it's fallen on municipal people, elected officials, animal control officers, police officers to get creative about what are you going to do. Because as elected officials, you do have a responsibility for providing animal control in your community. So cats. This is my tool of trade. And trap-neuter-return is, I don't see a cat running around the neighborhood and go, pull out my trap. I work, I have family, and I have a life, but I volunteer to do this. So how do we effectively trap cats? We target them. We target them by working with the people who feed them. And that's the quickest, fastest way for us to target and get this thing under control. That's why it's very important that we work with feeders and encourage them and nudge them. If you're going to feed cats, you are going to fix them. Okay? So, trapping part. What goes in here? We go out, we assess a colony. If there's 8 cats there, I'm going to have 8 traps and 8 appointments to get those cats fixed. I do not quit that colony until they're all done. I don't want to leave a male or a female, but I don't want to leave a female behind because she's the baby maker. Okay? What goes in here? If I do not have the opportunity to get young kittens into a rescue, we will trap and fix and return 2-month-olds. Our vets are pediatric spay and neuter experienced, and we'll put them right back in the colony. Why? Because we've had 5-month-olds pregnant. So we're not putting kittens back out. We hope to get them homes, but they get filled up very quickly this time of the year. We will trap cats that are old because they'll keep mating until they drop dead. We do terminate pregnancies. We do not force anyone with a pregnant cat to terminate the pregnancy, but the world does not need more, but that's the call of the colony caretaker. But we do terminate pregnancies. We trap. First thing I do after I get a cat in a trap, I cover it, and I'm going to remove it, and the first thing I do, get my flashlight out, I'm looking for a left ear tip. Because a left ear tip on a cat is an outward sign this cat's already been fixed and vaccinated. So if it has, after I'm finished, it'll go back out. Okay? Trap, we remove the cats back to a holding area overnight, they're fed, go to No Nonsense. So what do? First thing we do is get our microchip scanner. We're trying to encourage cat owners to microchip your animals. Dog licenses, historically, were not to take money from you. They were to identify your dog if it was out running through the neighborhood. How else is a police officer or an animal control officer going to know what dog it is? But we're now in 2019 and we have microchips. So microchips are the easiest way. So we scan for microchip. If not, we back the cat into the back of the trap, pop it in the butt with a sedative. I've never been bitten by a feral cat and never will be because it's in here. Once the cat is out, we take it out, assess it for what sex it is. The vet looks at its health, teeth, determine the age of it, and then we shave it and it goes on the table. All of our animals, pets, rescues, and ferals also get a tattoo, green tattoo. Because if we can't see a space scar, if it fades, we do not want to put an animal through another procedure, so they will see the tattoo. Okay? Comes off the table, goes on heat, gets fluids, ear tip it, worm it, flea treat, gets a spot treatment. Worming, ear mite, flea treatment, rabies, distemper, and the tip of that left ear comes off. And once they start picking up their heads and waking up, we put them back in the trap to finish recovery. Their caretaker comes and picks them up. They go and they're held 24 hours for a male cat. It's a zippity-doo-dah surgery for them, and females we like to hold in the trap for 48 hours. So that's trap-neuter-return. So Michelle kind of covered most of the rest of my presentation. But I just want to say to you that what is it we hope to achieve by asking you to ramp up trap-neuter-return? And number one is stabilize your population. We've got people in Phillipsburg who will do trapping here as volunteers, working with Michelle. You know, you're great, but a lot of communities don't have a Michelle. So we need to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cats to get this thing under control. So we're going to stabilize the population, try to take kittens out as much as we can, working with fur and other rescues. Try to get the strays off the street. They're going to be vaccinated. So when a vaccinated free-roaming cat runs into a rabid raccoon, the raccoon many times wins that fight, but the cat's not going to get rabies. And then the third thing that Michelle alluded to, not one of you wants to get a complaint about cats. Pooping in the garden, peeing on my patio furniture, yowling in the middle of the night. So, the yowling, the toms fighting in the alleys at 2 o'clock in the morning, that if you've never smelled the urine of an intact male cat, it will knock you over. All of those sex-related behaviors or things go away because they don't have that sex hormone anymore. But we recognize that just because we fix them, they still pee and poop, and they still can be a nuisance to people. So what we want our volunteers and Michelle to do is work with people who are complaining. If an animal is under your shed or your deck, go to Lowe's or Home Depot and get yourself some lattice and close it up. You're the higher thing. They're doing what animals do. They're looking for shelter. Do you have toter systems or do you put your garbage out in garbage bags? What do you do here?
You have no idea what you just asked.
Oh, is this something that we're not supposed to be talking about?
Mostly garbage bags.
Okay, all right. Well, the reason why I ask that is because don't feel bad because I'm moving up to Wilkes-Barre and they put out garbage bags too, and the people are complaining that the cats are getting in the garbage, but you're putting them out on bags. Sorry, I mean, but I've seen crows peck them open. I've seen raccoons in them. When you're putting things out, you cannot expect a different result if you have food and things on the side of a curb and you have animals living in your municipality. So sorry if I'm opening up a can of worms, but the point is at least some sort of a hard-sided thing with a lid on it. I mean, that would be a solution. One of the other things that we do, this is a solar, ultrasonic, motion-sensitive cat deterrent. Goes in the ground like a landscape light. Well, we have situations where we need to intervene. We don't want to see cats shot with BB guns or poisoned. These are things that you can use to propel the cats away. For people with large areas, there's motion-sensitive water sprinklers available through Amazon. There's all different things that we can do as human beings because animals are going to do what they do. Mate, look for food, and shelter. So we can come up with strategies using Michelle and the volunteers to try to ratchet down neighbor complaints. So we're hoping that 200, did you say 200 or 500?
I'm sorry.
200 complaints or 500?
It was a little over 200.
Well, we're hoping that we're going to see that ratchet down. Okay? So, barriers. Barriers to trap-neuter-return have always been a resistance from our elected officials to move into a new way of thinking. So I understand that you have an animal control ordinance that allows trap-neuter-return and approves it and will exempt feeders if they're doing TNR.
So our ordinance right now states that you're not allowed to feed the cats unless you enter into a contract with the town of Phillipsburg. I have 23 approved colonies right now that I know of, and I'm sure there's much more. But as it stands, you know, people were very scared
Right.
to be caught feeding
Correct.
because of this. But the reality is that the cats are there. People are abandoning them. The intact ones are running the streets because we do have a cat running that large ordinance that states you're not allowed to let your cat run off
Right.
of your property.
Right.
This is happening. The cats will have to be fed somewhere. I want them to be able to remain in these places without creating
Right.
nuisance, being fixed so they're not still populating, because, you know, you can't, people say, well, take all the cats out and euthanize them all.
Well, you can't do that. That causes a vacuum.
Well, I don't know of anybody that would do that for you.
No, and the vets don't want to do that.
Right.
Healthy cats, they don't want to euthanize, but that causes a vacuum effect. So you go to a colony and there's 8 cats, you take them all out and put them down, which I can tell you costs me twice as much as it's going to be to TNR with her. The cats will know that there was a colony there, other cats will come back, they will start reproducing, and then you have a whole problem all over again. It doesn't solve anything. So when the cats are TNR'd and they're in that colony, they will fight off the other cats from coming. If cats show up, colony caretakers call me and they say, Michelle, another cat showed up. Or they take the cat and they get it fixed, so, you know, it doesn't become another issue. That's what we're trying to work with.
Right, so I'm hoping that we've been able to shed some light on why TNR could work for your community and work with Michelle in animal control. So a big barrier is cost. $35 is what No Nonsense has charged since we opened in 2008. I don't know of too many things that have remained the same price over a decade. And the reason why we've done this is because this is an animal that doesn't belong to anyone. And it's very difficult, in my experience over the years, and we've got some people sitting in the audience who've been trapping, that they don't mind spending the last nickel they have to feed them, but they don't have another nickel to fix them. So we've kept our fees the way they are. So I spoke to Michelle last week, and I was very moved by the fact that, first of all, it took us so long to find each other. There's no reason in the world, but we're going to change that. I went to our board, and we're going to offer the city of Phillipsburg from the time, if you decide to sign this contract, your solicitor has a copy, each one of you do. Basically says that in Allentown, we will fix feral cats for you. We will vaccinate them, parasite treat them, ear tick them. And what we're going to ask for, which you have, is we're going to ask for ID of people bringing the cats in to make sure they're from the city of Phillipsburg, and we're going to do that. We're going to charge the city $15 a cat from now until the end of the year. And so we want to put that out there, hope that you will take advantage of the offer.
And I have one more thing to say, and as she explained to me, the colony caretakers or the people who are trapping, they're gonna have to provide proof that they live in the town of
Yes.
Phillipsburg, can go there, get the cat fixed. They will then send us a monthly bill.
Right.
Same as, you know, our vet does. I take the animals there, every month they send me the bills, I create a purchase order, I pay the bills. That's what they'll be doing for us. So it will cost less money and we will have a better handle on what's going on.
We do this with 40 other municipalities. It's a standard contract. Solicitor has it. We really would like for you, I know you can't make a decision tonight, but we'd like to see you get on this because we're already seeing kittens being dropped, lactating females out there. So they've already dropped their first litter of the year. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. Just so I'd like to thank you and
Certainly.
the entire crew for coming out this evening. Also, just so you're aware, what will happen is our solicitor or council, Leonard, will take this back, review the contract.
Okay.
He'll then come back to the council meeting. We then have to recommend that the mayor signs the contract. So we would have to go through a resolution to send it to the mayor. The mayor's office would then sign that contract, and I believe from there it would be executed, correct?
Correct.
I don't think that you would have any problems with regard to the council nor the mayor with this.
Well, listen, I look forward to it because you have a solution.
Yes.
You do. And we'd like to help you. Thank you very much.
Does anyone else on the panel have any
Anybody
questions?
in the audience have a question?
No, we don't.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
we don't.
sorry. That's okay.
That's okay, thank you. If anyone does, they're more than welcome to meet you outside to ask the question. I just can't do it inside. I think that gentleman right there may have a question for you on the aisle.
Neutering is with this.
Outside.
Right outside, sir.
Yeah.
It's okay, just be right out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Michelle, thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it. Change the agenda.
Hopefully by the next council meeting,
Yeah.
all right, Council Leonard will earn his money and we'll have this on the books. All right? Okay, we're going to move forward to the payments of bills. Vicki, you have the bills list?
Current fund, $68,755.76. State federal grants, $913. Capital fund, $43,511. Sewer utility fund, $2,575. Planning board trust fund, $1,499 and 5 cents, excuse me. Bridge development, $247.50. Section 8, $170. Planning, general trust fund, $56.03. Revolving loan, $1,485. For a regular bill list of $119,212.34. There are several table bills lists. William Benz, $487.50. Louis $10,871. Stephen Ellis, $48.49. Garden State Farms, $275. And DeVoe Associates, $468.60. The prepaid bill list, the agency fund is $1,495,208.42 for a prepaid bill list of $1,495,208.42. I'm not thinking well, but
Take your time, it's okay.
for a grand total of $1,626,571.35.
Excellent.
Had a moment there.
No, that's okay. We all have those moments. Is there a motion to approve the bills list?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Councilman Lutz, is there anything you'd like to?
No, not really.
Okay. Councilwoman?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Council Vice President?
Bill number check number 75603, Firth Youth Center staffing for bands.
I can answer that for you.
The Alliance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm good. 75607. That's Mr. Berger for power washing, over $7,000. What was power washed and painted?
I believe it was one of the firehouses.
Is it what?
Caulking, painting, repairing, exterior sidewalks, and the driveways.
Did we get quotes? Are we required to get quotes for this type of work over a certain amount?
I believe he did. I believe Rich is pretty thorough with doing this.
Yeah, we usually have a resolution though to approve it
Yeah, how come, normally would that come before us to approve the bill?
for that amount.
So it's over the quote threshold, so you have to solicit 3 quotes and then go with the lowest responsible
Doesn't need to be.
recipient, but it doesn't need to go before the council.
Okay. Okay.
This would need to come before us, correct? Prior to-
No, does
I
not.
didn't think so, that's what you said that, so I'm asking, I didn't,
Does
okay.
not.
This was a large building, we know of? What was it?
The firehouse.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. That, I agree. Just take a look here. No, I'm good as well. I do, so with the tabled bills, I do believe I'd like to keep them all tabled unless anyone on the panel has any objection.
Have we heard anything from the mayor regarding the 48, 49? Was there a reason? I brought that up last meeting, so I'm just looking for a reason.
From what
Has he
I,
gotten back to
no.
anyone
Nope,
regarding?
not to me. Anyone else? So motion to approve is already taken, the second, and we'll keep those bills tabled. Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGrova?
Yes.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Colbert?
Yes, bills list is passed. The next is public comment on agenda items. So folks, this is only agenda items, so you can come forward and speak here at the panel. Name and address for the record, and we have a 5-minute time limit.
Joe Minor, 392 South Main Street, Phillipsburg. First, I'd like to tell you, because it happened on the agenda, New York City is a big fan of spay and release. It handles their mice and rat problem, so it has that extra advantage. It will reduce our mice and rat problem. Okay, the other stuff. Public comment. I note a change in the agenda, namely the text of pending motions is absent. Maybe I could understand that it was a one-time exception. They aren't here. Next, Ordinance 2019-64, correctly named the budget, but the budget hearing will be it says it's going to be in the municipal building. It's probably a typo. It's going to be here.
Correct.
Great. Okay, the machine, the note's wrong.
We'll correct it.
Yeah. 2019-38A, until chief can appear at meeting. I went back to old records because it wasn't in here. It was about, so I looked it up. Why does the chief, it's a mistake I think, why does the chief of police need to appear to approve a debt service appropriation of $200,000? The appropriation is for debt service, and it's being held up, according to this, until the chief can appear at the meeting.
So
I think it's across, something else is probably supposed to be referred to.
It was put in there because of the budget, the bonds.
38A and 07 go together.
Right.
I believe that is.
You're correct, 38. yeah.
both of those items go together. So if you're asking, it was a courtesy for the chief. We had held it the evening he was in the accident. They're both tabled until we'll be discussing that this evening.
Okay, but there is a reason that I looked up the body because it's not here, by going back to the date and finding the actual ordinance. And the actual ordinance simply refers to one thing only. It's a $200,000 temporary appropriation to tide over interest paying on our debt. Doesn't seem to match up. Anyhow, I didn't think it matched up. I did my duty, I told you. Another thing, I have a question on Ordinance 2019-04, the first reading table in rubber. And I got a conflict. Is this bond, are these bonds like in the mayor's cover letter, which to the public record, referred to bonds at 3.8%, and Rob Merlot frequently refers to stuff that's 1% and under. I don't know if they're exactly bonds that turn over every single year. Is this the cheaper or the more expensive bonds?
I'll defer to Councilwoman.
These are the EITs.
Are these the 3.8s or these are 1.1 and the cheaper?
They're not 1%. These would be closer to 3. I think they were in the 2-something range actually, Joe. But
Okay, they're a little bit more than they were.
yeah,
The
none of them
Merlot
were-
way, none of them the Merlot.
none of them really match up to the numbers you figured.
Yeah.
But these are both pending information that we discussed at the budget hearing.
Okay,
back
and
from
I'll
the
be
town
able to see
engineer.
the budget starting tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah. That's what I understand. Correct?
Unless something changes this evening, Joe.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? Public comment? Okay, we close the public comment portion. Move forward to the mayor and administrative reports. Does anyone have an administrative report? Sewer subcommittee, I believe are you under the same status as you were last week?
Yeah.
Redevelopment committee? Bless you. Do we we have a report for the redevelopment committee?
The redevelopment is going forward. We're working with a couple of people, and we'll know very soon what our decisions are going to be.
Excellent.
That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. With regard to the subcommittee for the move of the police station, despite what some may have read online, I will address that later. I can say I spoke with Chief Stetner at length today. He's very supportive of the action that we're taking. The police department is very happy that council is now involved, and we are moving forward. There is no, we've all agreed that whatever is cheaper for the taxpayers will be the avenue that we take. So it's not the armory, it's not Corliss. Right now, it is nothing until we know what the numbers are. Tonight, I will ask council to pass 2 proposals so we're able to get hard numbers. But I will do that under new business. So I can tell you that, again, I spoke with the chief of police. He's extremely happy. You know, admittedly, he said I'm a taxpayer and I don't want my taxes to go up either. So that's where we stand with that subcommittee. Moving forward for the ordinances for a second reading, we do have a second and final reading of 2019-02, an ordinance of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 67 Vehicles and Traffic, Section 28 Parking Lots of the Code of the Town of Phillipsburg in order to designate certain spaces as veterans parking only. Is there a motion for the second and final reading?
I'll motion.
I'll second. God would. I'd like to open this up now for the public portion. So this is a public hearing. If you have any questions with regard to the ordinance number 2019-02, which is the veterans parking only. Okay, we can go ahead and close that public portion. Is there any comments from the panel?
Yes, I thought the mayor in his letter stating that he wants to drop this.
He did. The mayor does not get the privilege of removing anything from the agenda once it's placed on the agenda, and I personally feel that parking for the veterans is of the utmost importance, so I kept it on the agenda for the council to review. Is there anyone else with questions? Okay, I have one. I still would like to come back during a work session to amend this particular ordinance to include the half block around the Legion, which would provide the veterans there with designated parking spaces as well. I'm willing to pass it as is tonight and amend it at the next council meeting.
Work session, you mean, sir?
We can take action at the work session. We can. Did we already advertise? We did already advertise. Did we advertise for action taken? We did not. So it would be at the next council meeting.
You're going to end up advertising it 3 times?
No, we're gonna just, we'll do it at the next council meeting. We'll amend it. Unless you want to spend that money. Okay. With that being said, if there's no other further questions on this panel, I would like to pass ordinance number 2019-02. Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Fitch?
Yes. Ordinance number 2019-02 has successfully passed. Okay, we move forward to the first reading. I would like to break these up instead of having a consent agenda due to the fact that the councilwoman had spoken to me earlier today. The fact that they have to do with financing, consent agenda probably would not be the best way to go about this. So we will not have a consent agenda. We'll actually break them up into individual resolutions. So the first resolution is Resolution 2019-63, which is a resolution imposing a municipal lien for services.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this item? Everyone's familiar with the item. The lien is inside your packets. It's a municipal lien. for Marshall Street for Public Works call-out in the amount of $500.
Two of them.
Yeah, okay. Before I vote on this, I do have one question. We do have the Public Works gentleman here. Are you allowed to answer a question if I ask it?
No.
Well then, I'm not gonna ask you. Vicky, do you have any knowledge whether or not Public Works is mowing private properties without us invoicing them? Without us providing an invoice? So in the past, we had a particular property that we were cutting their grass without invoicing them, which was, in my opinion, was setting a dangerous precedent. If that is the case, I would have to vote no against this lien.
I'm not aware of that.
This isn't a grass cutting lien.
Well, no, it's not a grass cutting lien, but it's a call out for service.
This was previously discussed at other meetings.
Right.
So I believe your council president here also, you can include the snow removal as well.
Correct. So I can give you the address. Would you like the address of the property? I believe it's 108 Fleming Drive. If we can inquire as to whether or not we are still cutting that without invoicing them. If we're not,
I thought that stopped last year.
you believe that it stopped last year?
I do. But I should check.
Okay. In that case, I would ask that council table, we have a resolution, I would motion to table 2019-63. Is there a second to table?
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGrom?
No.
Councilmember?
Yes.
Council Vice President McBride?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Moving forward, resolution 2019-64, resolution entitled the municipal budget notice. Is there a motion?
I'll motion it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Is this to talk about the budget, or is this what we went over, or is this what's in this paper?
We need to read it.
Do you want to just read the
You need to read the
resolution? We're going to amend the resolution.
Sure. Where's it at? Here, let me find it for you.
You want to read it?
You want me to read it, or would you like to? You have a much better voice than I do. Your show. No, it's not my show. It's their show. Go ahead.
This is Resolution 2019-64, a resolution entitled Municipal Budget Notice. Be it resolved that the following statement of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for year 2019. Be it resolved that said budget shall be published in the Express Times in the issue of April 5th, 2019. The governing body of the town of Phillipsburg has hereby approved the following as the budget for year 2019. And a public hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Phillipsburg Housing Authority, this office, on Tuesday, May 7th, 2019 at 7:00 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for year 2019 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested parties. Here's the resolution.
As amended.
So, do we have the capability, after we pass this, do we have the capability of amending? Or is this?
Yes.
We do, okay. In that case,
If I may ask, the only thing that I see in this current,
is there a motion first to pass?
like that we did.
Yeah, we did do a motion second.
We motioned and seconded.
You did.
Yeah, that's why we're
I'm sorry,
discussing.
Councilman.
Okay. It says general government, general administration. Is that the, what is that? General administration. Is that? Well, is that the BA? Because there's nothing in here about the BA.
Where are you reading that, Mark?
Okay, sheet 12.
Oh, on the actual budget.
No, on this one, where we just.
Oh, the new one that we got this evening. Sorry.
Daniel.
You got everything?
Here you go.
I have it there.
You said 12?
Well, it's the very first page of administrations. Very top,
Right.
it says general administration. Is that the BA? Because there's no other BA in here.
Yes,
That is.
That
typically
is-
it is, yes.
Just asking you to clarify.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable? No discussion?
That's all I have, thank you.
Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes,
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
With the understanding that I still endeavor to cut another $70,000 out of this budget to make our tax rate flat, I will say yes. Resolution 2019-65, a resolution of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, authorizing a refund of tax overpayments.
So moved.
Second? Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
yes,
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes, Resolution 2019-65 successfully passes. We will now move forward to old business, and on old business, we still have the tabled ordinances of 2019-03 and -04. Councilwoman, do you speak for the subcommittee in recommending that they remain tabled?
yes,
Okay. Does anybody have any problems with 2019-3 and 4 remaining tabled?
No, sir.
Excellent. Moving forward, Resolution 2019-38A and 2019-07, I would also like to remain tabled pending the numbers received back from the town engineer.
Excuse me, Council President.
Yes, ma'am.
Bob Merlo said that 2019-38A could come off until you do decide to do any bonds.
Okay.
Then we can reintroduce the whole bond and that at that time, if you want to remove them.
I trust CFO Merlo. I will make a motion to untable Resolution 2019-38A.
He's familiar from the agenda,
you could
right?
just remove from the agenda.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Postpone indefinitely.
So I won't have to untable. So can a resolution to postpone indefinitely 2019-38A?
So moved.
Second? Second. Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes,
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Polk?
Yes. Okay, resolution 2019-38A is postponed indefinitely. Is there any discussion with regard to, or any opposition with regard to ordinance 2019-07 remaining tabled? There being none, move forward. The rest of the ordinances that you see have a second reading on April 16, 2009, because we need a 10-day period from the time that they were passed. I don't feel the need to go through them one by one. We can go.
Put them there so we don't lose.
No, I know. I just wanted to go ahead and let the public know why I was not reading them. We can go down and move forward to new business. Is there anything under new business? Councilman Lutz?
No, well, there's only one thing. I see where Joe Capuzza is wrecking his building on Stockton Street.
224 Stockton.
224 Stockton.
Okay, I do believe that we had written letters to have them appear once again. Is that correct, Councilman McVeigh?
no, we asked inspections to go inspect.
Did we get a report back from inspections?
Nothing on there.
So we sent out reports to inspections to have a report back for the Star Dollar Cleaners, for the 224 Stockton Street, and there was another property.
Ice House.
The Ice House property. We have not heard back from inspections regarding either.
I went to one of them this weekend.
Yes, Councilwoman, but have you heard back from the mayor's office regarding any of these properties?
No, I have not.
Okay. Give me a second and I will let you elaborate.
No, I don't need to. I mean, I have pictures, but
If you wish.
You know, I did see documentation that action was supposed to be taken back in 2014 on this, or the fines were up to $500 a week, I believe.
This is correct.
Part of that was the roof was supposed to be fixed. I can tell you, there's no roof there. There's no roof, there's squatters. It's a disaster, actually. The entire property is a mess. There's broken wood everywhere, broken pallets, there's people sleeping in the building, there's garbage, trash, and broken glass everywhere. So if we could somehow ask them to expedite and we can't call for habitability until inspections reports on it, but if we could put that one to the top with Star Dollar, I don't see why they can't get those all three to us by the next meeting.
I think the last real work that was done on that property was some facade, I think was placed in the front, and they knocked down a wall that had been leaning. It was a brick wall.
That one, where it's all left there, maybe?
That looks like it might have been it, yes.
Yeah. They put a wreath on it.
A reef?
Yeah. for
No, that was
Christmas.
on the front of the building.
It had lights.
And there was supposed to be sidewalk repair as well that was done. I think.
There's no sidewalk here.
Right. So I did see that paperwork. Council Wenner, you're saying we have to, not we as the governing body, but the administration has to administer those fines?
Right, the council doesn't, it's through the office of the administrative side of the government, the office of the
Correct.
mayor, inspections goes out and issues summonses.
Okay, and that's been there since 2014, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at 5 years and nothing, they haven't been fined. Okay.
But that could solve your deficit right there.
Yes, it could. Update onto the Star Dollar Cleaner property, just so everyone is aware. I know we had called for that. I know the gentleman who owns it. I had spoken with him. Actually, a very nice guy. We had approached the owner with regard to performing a land swap. I had spoke to Mayor Ellis, and he had agreed to performing a land swap with this owner. We would provide him with one of the town-owned properties, and we would take over the Star Dollar Cleaners and demolish it. Unfortunately, those discussions had gone by the wayside. I personally don't know why. I don't believe it was at the fault of the landlord. I believe that, again, I believe the mayor just did not communicate with this particular person. I will endeavor to try and get him to communicate with the owner of the property in hopes that we could have it down before the November election. So maybe that will happen. The other property, I have no update on, so we would have to wait back. That's all I have. Councilman Woods, do you have anything else?
No.
No. Councilwoman?
Nothing.
Council Vice President?
They are in receipt of notification that we have raised these questions as council, that they are aware of. I don't want to put inspections in a bad spot if they're not, but have they been made aware? If we communicated out of our offices that they are,
Usually it was coming through the clerk's
Yeah,
office.
I can send that letter to inspections, but.
No, I think that the initial we talked about was going out to the property owners. I'm asking, did we get anything out of our offices to the property owners or not?
Not for the owners.
Okay. I just want to make sure before we start, raising our, or heightening our angst on this, that they had proper notification and be able to represent themselves first before we start raising some questions. We all have lots of questions, but if however that process works, I just want to make sure that whomever is properly notified to start the process.
Well, inspections has to go out and actually cite it first. Until they do that, we can't do anything.
Right. Have we contacted, or whomever, have we started that process of contacting inspections? Then I'm good.
Okay.
Accountability, that's all.
Consistency and accountability. I do not have anything for new business. I will save that all for my open time because I have a feeling Joe's going to want to leave.
So I will save it for my open time. Moving forward, we have a public petitions, time where the public can speak. So the public may now approach to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
I'm Joe Miner again, and this will only take a minute. I have a recollection about that ice house thing. I'm old and I make mistakes on this stuff like this, but you'd want to know. Duddy found that all those old beautiful walls were sound, and he ordered them to tear down, I think, the ice house part of it and a bunch of other stuff. And that was done a whole long time ago. So it's very highly probable that the ice house owner doesn't know that there's any complaints about it presently. You know, you were pointing that possibility out. And frankly, as buildings go, and in my taste, I see what it could be. That's potentially a most beautiful building with those old stone parts, and there's some crazy angles in there that are sound. I just thought you'd want to know what I recall.
Thank you.
The roof didn't come off. That was one of the things, and they left these walls.
Okay, is there anyone else for public comment? Right on, Chloe.
Emil Brisson, 94 Bowman Street, Phillipsburg. I'd just like to start off by asking a reminder, asking the council members if they would use the microphones. There's a lot of conversation that occurred that was difficult to hear in the back of the room, so I'd appreciate it if you would use the microphones.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the library. Last Friday, I guess, was the budget hearing, and there was discussion about the library. Councilwoman DeGirolamo asked one of the people who was making comments whether they thought that the council wanted to close the library, and she did not understand why anyone would think that. So I just wanted to see if you are aware of a statement that was made at the freeholders meeting, at their meeting of February 27th. And I'm going to refer to the minutes. I'll give you a copy of it when I'm done. Specifically, it says, quote, "Phillipsburg Town Council has expressed some interest in learning more about joining the county library system. Mr. Kern said that the topic was raised by Councilman Fulper and McVeigh during a public hearing." I don't know what public hearing he's referring to. Continue to quote, "He expected them to embark on a fact-finding process before potentially putting the choice to the voters. That's good news," said Mr. Sarnosky. I'll give you a copy.
Thank you.
So I'm just wondering whether he misunderstood something or whether there is any validity to his statement at the freeholders meeting.
May I?
Yeah.
Because I raised it, sir.
Sure.
Freeholder Curran looks like he's quoted saying here, he expected them, that would be Council President Fulper and myself, to embark on a fact-finding process before potentially putting the choices to the voters. Sir, that's my job. That's what I was elected to do, fact-find, and then discuss before putting it to the voter. That could be good or bad. If you remember the last meeting, sir, after meeting with the police first, I raced out to you folks and asked if there were any questions, and I said, after we get through this budget process, I would personally make myself the liaison to the library, to Ms. Mesling, and to work back and forth with this information. At no time did I
mention anything good or bad, or I just was saying that the information was returned back to Freeholder Kern. And I was waiting for him to get back to me on some of the said items going back and forth. I introduced it because there was information there that concerned me, so I brought that up. And I was looking for the administrator of the town to actually give an answer to that.
Introduced what? I mean, I remember that there was a meeting where
Right.
you mentioned that there was a question about whether the town owed the county
Absolutely.
library additional money.
Absolutely.
I don't remember you saying anything at that meeting about being interested, it says express some interest in learning more about joining the county library system. That's different than the issue of whether the town owes the county money related to the library. This says that at a public meeting, you expressed interest in joining the county library.
I'm reading what you have highlighted here, sir. It says that I was expected them to embark on a fact-finding process before potentially putting the choices to the voters. That's what I was elected to do.
Oh, I understand that. I think that you're not addressing the issue of whether at a public meeting you raised the issue, expressed interest in learning more about joining the county library. We keep being told that the council members support the Phillipsburg Library. And, in the budget hearing, it certainly sounded like the council supports the Phillipsburg Library. Talking about looking into joining the county library system is not supporting the public or the town library.
Okay. Sir, to be quite honest with you, I don't know what you're talking about by joining the county library. I brought up the possibility of owing the county a lot of money. That was posed, the question was to be answered by the town administrator. We all know where that went. So I just raised that question, and I'm embarking on my fact-finding process. I'm doing my job. I didn't say anything about joining a county library. I think you did.
No, this from the freeholders meeting minutes says Phillipsburg Town Council had expressed some interest in learning more about joining the county library system. Mr. Kern said the topic was raised by Councilman Fulper and McVeigh during the public meeting. From what I'm hearing you say right now is that's not accurate.
You're asking what? Because I'll be honest, I don't know what you're asking exactly.
I'm asking whether this statement by Freeholder Kern
Whether or not we
is
inquired about the county library? Is that what you're asking? Or whether or not we inquired about what the advantages are to joining the county library?
Well, it says you expressed that the council expressed an interest in learning more about joining the county library system.
So,
are you exploring joining the county library system?
Mr. Brisson, I will explore whatever will save the town of Phillipsburg money. But let me answer your question because I know where we're headed in a political year. I support the Phillipsburg Free Public Library wholeheartedly. I believe we proved that here. It seems to me, correct, twice. It seems to me that members of a certain faction in the town of Phillipsburg like to come and like to, I guess, present falsehoods to the public and say, the council does not support the library. Why doesn't the council support the library? You should vote for this certain person, and maybe the library has a better future. Would I be correct in assuming so?
I'm not exactly sure what you're saying.
Oh, I can do it. I can clear it up.
If you are accusing me of coming here right now for political reasons, that's not true. I'm just trying to find out whether this statement that was in the freeholder minutes is accurate.
If you're asking if
I have no political
I have
agenda.
nothing to hide. So if you're asking me if I had conversations with Freeholder Kern with regard to the library, yes, I did. And you know why I did that? At the direction of Ms. Messling, to try and figure out what was going on. If you were here during a meeting, you were here when Mr. Bullock and Ms. Messling approached us right here at that very podium and asked us about money that they were to recoup from a group, and I believe was it called the Friends of the Library? Is that what it was called? What was it? The Federation of the Library?
Federation.
Right. So I did my job when the other guy was supposed to do his job but didn't, but I did. So I called out and I had asked them, what's going on? How come we aren't getting the Phillipsburg Free Library's money? I went out to speak to Ms. Messling over at the Phillipsburg Free Library, and then I got certain information back from the freeholders, which I brought back, and I won't disclose it currently because I would like to sit down with the mayor and find out what the truth is, if I can ever get to the truth. But quite frankly, my statement stands. This board, this council, supports the Phillipsburg Free Public Library, and that's really it.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that because the way this was phrased, it sounded like you were looking into joining the county library. So I appreciate your support.
You're very welcome, Mr. Person.
And
Thank you very much.
You know, I just want to say that as a library user, as a member of the Friends, and as a member of the Board of Trustees for the library, I appreciate your support.
Mr. Person, you have our support. You have our support.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else? I recognize this guy. I see him all over Facebook today. How are you?
Good, how you guys doing?
Doing very well. I just need your name and address for the record, please.
Nico Malitzis, 150 South Main Street, Greek Nikai.
Nico, I'm going to need you to spell the last name for the clerk.
Malitsis.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nico. Please, the floor is yours.
The reason I'm here today is because of the garbage situation. So every morning I come to work, I gotta see piles of trash right in front of the building. And it just doesn't look nice for my customers, or me. I mean, what can we do about this?
Sir, we are in the process of creating an ordinance where there will be no loose bag trash. Everything will have to be placed in cans or they will be cited. Now, to be quite honest with you, that does go to the mayor. And the mayor does have to enforce these ordinances. Okay. I've seen it before you moved in. I've seen it after you moved in. And quite frankly, it's disgusting. The landlord who owns that building should be fined.
Yeah.
So I sympathize with you and I apologize on behalf of this town. But that you should see that problem go away within the next, I would like to say the next month. But if we have anything to say about it, it'll go away very quickly.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you for choosing the town of Phillipsburg to do business in.
No problem.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No other public comment? Excellent. We're closing public comment, moving forward to council open time. Councilman Lutz, do you have anything?
Speaking of garbage, I don't know if you go down South Main Street, not only his property, but if you go down by the attorneys, between the attorneys' offices, there's so much garbage piled up there, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
And there's another vacant lot, the parking lot, there's garbage all in that too. I mean, it's terrible. And we're trying to fix South Main Street.
Correct.
That's all I have, thank you.
Councilwoman.
I'm looking at a Facebook post right now. I had nothing open, actually. It was a quiet week because we were here all week last week. So not much got done.
Well,
We were here every day last week in meetings. Well, we were here. We didn't have meetings every day. So in the last month, I've been called a 5-letter word in front of paid professionals, town employees, and other elected officials, and a bizarre political faction. And today, I'm being accused of trying to keep the police in my backyard and tanking the Armory project. Now, we all know that backyard would be mine. I don't appreciate that. I try to be very fiscally responsible. I've had bunnies in my yard. This has to stop. I'm going getting personally attacked on Facebook because of votes and where I live by a public official in this town. That's insane. You know, I'm one to try to take the high road pretty consistently. I really don't like to have to do this, but it's getting a little old. Anyway, you know, I've been nice, I say hello, I'm always friendly, and now this. You know, I live there. I live there. Is this what we really say to our town employees about we talk about division? This is where it starts, buddy. This is where it's starting. You want to know why this town is the way it is? Look at that. You're basically telling the entire police force, I want you in my backyard and you're not moving because of it, because I'm an elected official? This is insane. I would never put their health at risk over having them in my backyard. I know as well as anybody where the crime is in town. I see the police cars go 5 at a time down my street. Crimes elsewhere, it should be they should be around patrolling them. They shouldn't be up at Corliss Avenue. So, you know what? I'm really bothered because this was kind of the last straw. You know, calling me a 5-letter word in a public meeting, a private meeting was one thing in front of other paid professionals and town employees is one thing. But accusing me of that is enough. It's enough. You know, every time something has to happen, I'm the one to call. I'm not getting answered either. But really, you know what? I'm not even going to pull the girl card. But, you know, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know what to say. I've been the quiet one till now, but that was it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President.
I had an opportunity to have an exchange with Councilwoman DiGirolamo today. She was very upset. She explained why. You just saw why. And then I was getting a lot of messages regarding some of the news that was hitting locally, televised and print. And it made me relive a little bit what's going on in our town or what allegations are out there. And coming off of what Councilwoman DiGirolamo just said, I'm just going to mentally take a break before my head explodes. So I turn it over to you, Council President, and I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Okay, I had to write my statement because I need to refrain from swearing. So I want to take a moment to clear up some confusion that I believe was purposely posted today on the Fighting with Phillipsburg, Ellis, Stetner, and Clark Facebook campaign page, where a ghostwriter took the opportunity to spread a slew of misinformation in an attempt to mislead the public. I see a common trend with our mayor and his disciples, and their skill to come up with a massive amount of misinformation and the ability to toss out random numbers in hopes of persuading the public. Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, many investors, tons of investors, billions of dollars, and the list goes on. But somehow the truth is never revealed. Hundreds of thousands is normally 20 people a year. Tens of thousands is really a bit less than 3,000. Many in tons are normally one or none. So when the concocted post boasted that this council had somehow dismantled the mayor's plan of moving the police department to the Armory building for $3.2 million by purposely undo the bonds for the Armory project in February, he lied. In fact, this council is doing exactly what the taxpayers had asked. We are exploring the most viable and inexpensive option, not just the only option the mayor wishes to pursue at the unannounced cost to the taxpayers. Sure, he says he has found an option to bring the cost of the building down to the original $3.2 million bond. But did he say how? No. In fact, he only stated that we would take on the liability of utilizing our town engineer as a general contractor, but never once consulted with our insurance company about the risks the town would undertake nor did he appropriately invite council to any of his secret meetings where he used his 35 years of experience in the state parks to devise this new and improved construction plan that would save Phillipsburg. In fact, let's take a look at the appropriate process that should have taken place. On November 21st, 2017, in an executive session, it was requested by council, and more specifically, Councilman Davis and Councilman Piazza, that the town of Phillipsburg obtain a rough estimate for bid specs regarding both buildings and 2 feasibility studies for both buildings. However, despite council's request, only the armory project was ordered by the mayor to advance, and he did so without council approval. It should also be pointed out that in that meeting, the mayor stated the USDA loan would be a 40-year loan at 2%. Fast forward to present day, and we have no second feasibility study. The USDA loan is actually 40 years at 5%, and not once over the course of his tenure did the mayor attempt to relocate the police from the police department. This is only an issue today because our embattled mayor has decided he wants to run for political office again. And he is attempting to sway the voters of Phillipsburg by doing what he does every single time he gets caught lying. He blames us. Council has been working diligently and cooperatively with the police department and our professional services departments to find a solution that is cost efficient to the taxpayer and not just a pretty new building to put our names on a gold plate. I was on the phone today with Chief Stetner, as stated earlier, and we are both in agreement. We will await real numbers to apply to this situation. No politics, no backdoor deals, just real business in hopes that we are capable of finding a resolution that will not cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. And as a side note, the chief has stated how nice it was that everyone was working cooperatively without issue and there was no tension and that we were making progress. And then the Facebook post hit. Yes, we do have to spend some money for these plans, but that is what the council before us have requested, and that is what the mayor ignored. Quite frankly, I am growing tired of the constant misinformation that has been released by Steve Ellis. It's reckless and completely unethical. I can't help but wonder why he didn't tell his readers how he informed us that he wasn't moving anywhere if the police didn't get the armory building. I wonder why he didn't reference the other costs, such as the $1.7 million remediation fee for Corliss Avenue, or what type of effect that the empty building would have on the property values surrounding it. In fact, he didn't tackle any of those pertinent issues. He simply logged on and let the campaign literature flow. Today, after he left the courthouse, he said he had to get back to work. Instead, he posted to Facebook. I can only wonder how much taxpayer money has been wasted over the past 3.5 years on this man's ability to log onto his computer from home and lie continuously to the people. As with the budget, we're sending a message loud and clear. Don't worry, Mayor. You don't have to work anymore. Stay home and collect that $65,000 a year paycheck because we can take it from here. That's one issue. The second issue I have is personal. I took it personal. On March 14, 2019, Phillipsburg Mayor Stephen Ellis released a statement announcing his intentions on running for a second term, and in his press release, he stated the following. Unfortunately, there are forces in Phillipsburg's government who would rather spend their time threatening my children and abusing their power to wage political vendettas rather than creating economic opportunity and doing the work to revitalize our community. As a proud father of 4 children, former youth football, wrestling, and baseball coach, and a public servant with zero knowledge of the mayor's assertions, I immediately contacted him to ascertain more information, and he didn't respond. I simply asked him about the threats, who made them, and when they were made. I then submitted an Oprah request to the Phillipsburg Police Department, requesting any and all police reports made between January 1st, 2016 and March 18th, 2019 regarding any threats made physically or verbally to the family of Mayor Stephen R. Ellis. And on March 28, 2019, Phillipsburg Police Captain Michael Swick contacted me to confirm there have been no reports of such activity. I am embarrassed and appalled at the questionable behavior of our elected mayor, but I must admit, I am not surprised.
The political spectrum under the Ellis administration in Phillipsburg has been one of hostility over the past 3.5 years, and it's false allegations like the one adopted by Mayor Ellis during his campaign announcement that has played a major role and serves to further the divide in our community. Making such statements is not only reckless, but inadvertently places the families of those innocent parties in danger due to the behavior of his radical allies of the Ellis administration and the Phillipsburg Municipal Democratic Party. No one should ever use their children as a shield or tool for political advancement, as our mayor has publicly demonstrated in his March 14th public statement. His choice of words is not only knowingly false, but also unethical, immoral, and a true display of the vile type of politics that he and his cohorts employ. My colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, have been consistently working together to overcome these despicable tactics by the mayor and have continued their venture in making progress on economic vitality and redevelopment. Our community is of the utmost importance and has always remained on the forefront of our decisions, and we will not allow the hateful actions or inflammatory false rhetoric of the mayor or his organization's co-conspirators to ruin this community or the many relationships that council has forged. Councilman Lutz and Councilman McVeigh meet with investors weekly and have already started toward a demonstration for the public that would include these investors and the unveiling of their plans for the town of Phillipsburg. I'd say that these men were working diligently to create economic opportunity and revitalize our community. They don't just tarp the roofs of buildings that aren't ours or hang flower pots in buildings downtown that we don't own. They've been working full-time jobs and put in more hours than anyone can ever imagine while trying to reach the goal of remodeling our town and stimulating our economy. And with every plan and investor they have spoken with, they are met with resistance by the mayor. They are threatened by him, and he will not proceed with anyone other than those that he has been speaking with. But he has refused to acknowledge the process and doesn't understand our form of government. So he behaves negatively and lies in retaliatory fashion, just as he did in his press release. I am more angry at the mayor's statement with regard to his children being threatened. I cannot fathom nor wrap my head around why he would attempt to gain the sympathy vote by reporting false facts to the public at large to advance his political career. Let's be honest, no one's threatened his children, and it's time that he faces these facts and he tells the truth. I spent years fighting sex offender coaching, while Steve Ellis and his cohorts looked the other way. Why on earth would I allow or approve anyone attacking his children? I personally will not stand for this type of rhetoric much longer. It is a distraction, it is untruthful, and it is the lowest form of politics that anyone could undertake in an effort to win over the people by employing sympathy with falsehoods. Tonight, as a father, a community member, and as a member of this governing body, I am demanding a public apology from the mayor for the lies that he has spewed regarding the invisible threats towards his family. If he chooses to continue to cower and hide behind the computer rather than acknowledge that he was wrong, I will move to ask this governing body reduce his salary to the minimum amount of $4,500 per year because I am disgusted by his behavior and he hasn't acted like a mayor since he was elected. And that is all I have to say this evening. It's unfortunate that it has come to that. Perfect. With that being said, this council, after we have motions, we do have executive session.
It'll be brief.
It will be brief, but I do believe that we will be taking action on two issues, litigation and contractual, because we have to discuss the documents received today. Is there a motion to transfer firefighter Kerry Carpenter from Warren Chemical Company to the Alert Hook and Ladder?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bajai?
Yes.
Council President Fulton?
Yes. Now I'd like to take this moment to have an executive session. That would be Resolution 2019-66. A resolution to provide for an executive meeting for the Town Council of the Town of Phillipsburg for the purpose of litigation and contractual matters, and I expect to be in there no longer than 30 minutes.
And action will be taken.
Action will be taken.
When we come out.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion to reconvene?
So moved.
And a second? Second. All right, back in session. So we have a few resolutions we are going to take action on, and I will defer to Council Leonard.
Thank you, Council President. The first motion I would ask to be made is in the matter of Boyd versus the town of Phillipsburg and the Firth Youth Center. The motion authorizing a settlement in the amount of $7,000.
I will second.
So, no discussion, right?
Down, just a roll call is fine.
If there's no discussion, we'll go with the roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Breimer?
Yes. Motion approved.
Okay, the next two motions are for, we'll do them separately, are for professional services for Van Cleef Engineering, and this is in regard to the studies that are being undertaken for the new municipal complex and the police. The first one would be a motion authorizing a professional services contract with Van Cleef Engineering in accordance with the proposal submitted by Van Cleef Engineering dated March 26, 2019, referenced as the rehab and renovations to the Corliss Building Engineering, Architectural, and Surveying Services proposal in the amount of $162,000. And there are funds available. Sorry, Councilman.
Separate ones?
Yeah, we'll do it individually.
So moved.
Second?
Is there discussion? Councilwoman Lutz, do you have anything to say?
No, thank you.
Councilwoman?
Just to be clear, that is for everyone in one building at Corliss Avenue?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Council Vice President?
Very happy we're moving forward.
The only note I'd like to make is that this was the cost that should have been done as ordered by council in November of 2017, as referenced in my earlier statement. But we'll do it. Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Breimer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the third and final motion is also for professional services. Again, Van Cleef Engineering Associates would be a motion authorizing the execution of professional services contract with Van Cleef Engineering Associates in accordance with the proposal submitted March 26, 2019, and referenced as value engineering and rebid to the Armory Building Engineering, Architectural, and Surveying Services proposal in the amount of $15,000 to go back and revamp the work that was previously done.
So moved.
Second. Is there discussion? Councilman Lutz?
Nothing, thank you.
Councilwoman?
And just to be clear on that one, that is because the bid went over, this is to go back to what might be a more reasonable number?
That is correct, and it is removing OEM from the building. They would be relocating back to Corliss Avenue.
Okay. And that was contrary to what we heard earlier, this work was not performed previously?
That is correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Council Vice President, do you have any comments?
Nope, again, just very happy after getting us involved a few months ago. We are moving forward and we're working toward resolve.
Roll call.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Breimer?
Yes. Motion carries.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming out this evening.